Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, got a little fun job here. Got to put a new water pump in this thing. You can see right there where it's been spitting back on the motor, streaking down the side of the frame, and it's coming out of that weep hole there on the water pump. So thankfully, from what I'm seeing and what I remember, the water pumps on these Cummins motors aren't that bad to change. At least the ones I've done anyway. We'll find out what this one here's like. First thing I gotta do is take this shield piece here off. I've already hooked up a hose. I've got it draining. Got the antifreeze draining out. There we go. All right, yeah, you can see right there where it's been spitting out. Yeah, there we go, coming down through there. Odd thing is, I gotta loosen up that serpentine belt, but I can't really get any movement out of that bearing. So I'm gonna grab me a ratchet to loosen up the tensioner. There we go. Okay, got that belt loosened up. I can get just a little teeny tiny bit of play out of that pulley, but surprisingly, not bad at all. Okay, I'm running my hand around in there, seeing if I can feel the little bolts that hold that pump in. Huh. Well, that's odd. Generally, they're held in almost kind of like in a triangular formation. Oh, there's number 3. I couldn't find it. Okay, yeah, there's 3 bolts holding it in place. Let's see here. I may have to take this tensioner here off. That might be right smack dab my way. Go ahead and get this thing out of here. Yeah, there we go. And after I've already changed all the antifreeze in this thing, now I have to turn right around and drain all right back out again. In fact, I've got the radiator draining now. It's almost done. So, okay. There's the tensioner. Bearing feels good. I am going to see about putting a new serpentine belt on. Just be on the safe side. Okay, now I gotta get some smaller metrics. Here, let me take and stick you up in there. It's easier for the show you at the camera. Yeah, there we are. There's the pulley. Down here's a bolt. Up right there's another bolt, and then there's one right. You probably can't see on camera. Right there at the end of my hand is the third one. Like I say, thankfully these aren't too bad. That is the thing I like about the Cummins motors, because you don't have to take and pull the fan off to change the pump. Okay, we'll go ahead and get these 3 little bolts out that hold that pump in place. I thought I was going to have to take this tube out, but thankfully I don't have to do that. Now if I can find the third one back in there behind that fan hub. Got my plastic hammer. Just got the last bolt popped out of there. Got a lot of dust in there too. Whoop. So much for all draining out. There shouldn't be a whole lot left in there. It's just the last little dab there toward the bottom of the pump housing. Okay. Oh. Well, I thought it was a dab. Huh. Ah, well, we're just going to go with it. Let it fly. Come on, get out of there. Actually, it's got a... There we go. All right, there we got it. Not much of a pump, I can tell you that much. Okay. I tocked the case place, and right there, yeah, right there's an O-ring that goes right around that. And so, now where's that weep hole at? Well, that's odd, I can't even find it. Huh. It's got to be around there somewhere. That's the only place it could be coming from. There's the water pump, like you saw me take it out. Right there's the weep hole channel. However, I made a little bit of a discovery. I don't think the pump's leaking. Because once I got, like I say, you see all that up in there, that's the only thing sitting right there is the water pump. It's like the fans to the antifreeze back. Well, once I got looking here on this water pump, I cleaned out that little weep hole channel. Once I got looking down in there, it's good and dry. There's nothing in there. So I got looking a little bit closer. And, oh, I don't have my light. I forgot to grab my light. But this top radiator tube, it goes over, it 90s down right there behind the alternator. It's got a hose clamp on the tube part, but on the bottom part where the rubber hose hooks onto the barb, that would be the thermostat, I'm assuming, is right, it sits right there. There's no hose clamp. That's where it's leaking at. And the odd thing is, in the rubber part of that hose, it doesn't appear to have ever had a hose clamp. There's no indentation in the rubber. Like you take that off, you're going to see a ring right there from that being pinched down. And so that's where it's leaking at, which is kind of odd. It's never done that before. But so I don't know if I'm going to put a new water pump on or not. I can get just a little bit of movement out of that. I mean, for only 3,700 hours, I would have thought that the water pump would have lasted longer than that. I'll take it over here to the vise and I'll show you right quick. Okay, right there. Not too sure where you can kind of hear that, but you can hear a little bit of wiggle in that bearing. So since I already have it out, I may just go ahead and slap the reman into it. Yeah, you can kind of hear that little bit of play in there, not much though. And so, like I say, since I've already got it apart, I may just go ahead and throw the reman in, because that does sound a little bit dry. However, that's not the problem. It's a missing hose clamp that, like I say, it does not ever have appeared to ever been on the tractor from the factory. Alright guys, we are headed off the case place. I figured since I've already got that pump out of there, it does have that little bit of wiggle in the shaft, and the bearing does sound dry, we'll go ahead and put the new reman pump into it. I've got the old pump here in the back of the truck because there's I think like a $25 cord charge, so we'll take that back to them. And but yeah, that sure is weird though. That rubber connector, well, it's just like a fern co is what I'd call it. And like I say, on the one end of that rubber piece, you would think if the old clamp actually broke off, there would still be like an indentation or an imprint of a hose clamp in that rubber. But there's no imprint or anything. And like I say, it's kind of weird. It sure does look like that. Look like it's been that way since the factory. So kind of odd. So we'll go up here and get this new pump picked up. Getting ready to turn in up here at the case place. I know I've done videos and shown you all the John Deere place right there before. And kind of weird, you got John Deere right here and you got Case IH right next to them. And it's kind of odd, they almost like they have a little bit of a rivalry. On the John Deere side, right there you see that fence? That's the property line. And so it's almost like I said, it's like they have a little bit of a rivalry, because when somebody over at John Deere trades in a case, John Deere will set the case trade in over here beside the fence line. I've seen the same thing here at Case. If somebody trades in a green one, it'll usually be sitting right here where those grain carts are on the Case side. And so, but yeah, here we are. They all kinds of goodies out here. There's a 9250 combine. They actually just built this new big office and shop area. It's a big place up here now. There's a nice new sprayer, a 3250. I like that. Got a lot of planters over there. I see they got a Great Plains. They must be a Great Plains dealership also. But yeah, this is Bain Welker. Right there it is. The Winamac, Indiana location. So I'm going to run inside, grab my new water pump, and then we'll be on our way. All right, we're back here in the shed. Right there's a new water pump. Even got a little sticker on it. C&H. So we'll get that put back in the tractor and should be good to go. Well, once we get that hose clamp put back up on top there. There we are inside. Just take a rag right around, wipe everything off. Not too sure how well it shows up on camera, but right there on that corner, it's kind of tapered on the edge. And that's where your O-ring seats into to seal up good. All right, I think we're good to go. Now, I'm gonna grab the pump. And that little wiring harness right there is actually right smack dab in the way. That might be the AC connection. I'm not sure. Gotta try to remember. Okay, this goes over this way. And that part, yeah, there we go. Kind of getting set back in there. Get that harness up out of the way. There we go. Okay, now we're seating in like it's supposed to. Grab one of the bolts. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I don't think it's going to go too far. Not exactly a whole lot of room to get your hands in there. Uh-oh. Bolt dropped. I'll just take and tighten the top one down. That way the pump holds in snug. Go ahead and get that last bolt in, and that'll have it. And there we go. At least now we know the water pump is good to go for a long time. Hopefully. And now I just got to get a clamp, put on that top hose, and that'll be good to go. Kind of tighten each one of these bolts down evenly. Okay, that's got that one. Now we'll jump up here. Ah, there we go, up on the top one. Uh-oh, smacked the camera. I got the camera. You're actually sitting on top of a belt idler, so it's kind of, every now and then the camera kind of wants to take and tip back and forth as the pulley turns. Okay, I've got those snugged. We'll jump down here on the bottom, pull them down. Or I guess if you wanted to, you could always take and tighten them up till they break, then back them off half a turn. Not too sure how well that would hold afterward though. Might leak a little. It might end up leaking antifreeze freeze just a little. Go ahead and put the tensioner back on. Yeah, there we go. And generally these tensioners, besides the bolt hole here on the back side, it has like a little nub, and that nub drops into a little notch because it's directional. So we'll take and tighten that thing up. Come on. There we go. When you're putting this tensioner on, I forgot. Make sure you put it on. You hook the belt around it first, then put it in. Because otherwise, it runs too close to the frame right there in front of that housing, and you can't get it on. You can't get the belt on. Ah, there we go. Okay, now the little nub on the back dropped in place. We'll tighten him up, and then we'll be ready to take and throw the ratchet into it and snap it down. All right, now let's see what happens. Probably end up getting my fingers pinched. Yep. Come on. Okay, there it dropped in. We're all in place. Oh. Okay, pulleys up on top. The fan pulley through there. Around the crankshaft down below. That thing's got a big harmonic balancer on it. Alrighty, that should have it. There we are, taking the center of that belt up. But it'll drop in place once it starts running. Okay, that's got it. Now, the simple job. Gotta jump up on top there and get a hose clamp put on like it should have had from the beginning. Here we are up on top. Okay, you see, oh, the light's in the way. Okay, there we are. You got that rubber connector. At the bottom is supposed to be a clamp. And I thought it didn't have one. However, once I finally get some light in here and looking, I can see the clamp has actually fallen off. It's actually laying right down there around the base of it. So I've got to get that thing popped up and out of there. Problem is though, it's almost impossible to get to with this alternator right smack dab in the way. I may be pulling that serpentine belt right back off to get the alternator taken out in order to put a hose clamp on. That's not sounding lots of fun. So we'll see what happens here. Okay, well, before I pulled that alternator off, I wanted to see if I can maybe grab that clamp, and there's a AC line right smack dab in the way of the camera. Not too sure how well you can see that, but right there's the hose clamp. I'm going to try and see if I can snake this bit driver down there and get on that and begin to loosen that thing up. Uh-oh. My pliers slipped off. Okay, now I got a better bite. I figured it may be easier to try it this way before I go and try and pull the alternator all off. Which I'm kind of surprised. This thing's got a 3-wired alternator. I would have assumed it would have had a big single wire. It's a whole lot better, I think. Okay, well, it's kind of hard to see on camera because I gotta get my hands in there to try and get that clamp popped back up on that piece, if it'll go. Okay, not too sure how well you can see from right there. However, I had to get the camera out of my way. Alright, I've got the hose clamp held up with one hand. Go and try and snake my bit driver in there with the other hand. And now we'll begin to tighten that thing down. It's got them AC lines right there. Uh-oh. Keeps wanting to fall off that bit. Okay, let's see how that looks like. Let me see if I can kind of put the... There, okay. Yeah, you can see the bit driver on the clamp right there. Can't give you an overhead view. Now that the clamp is snugged up, I can just use one hand on the bit driver and one hand on the camera. I can tell you one thing, there ain't much room back in there to work with. Okay. Well, I think that's got that thing tightened up. Now let's see if I can wiggle it with on this, grabbing this top hose. Well, that definitely made a big difference. I can't get any budge out of the thing now. And so, yeah, kind of odd that clamp worked loose somehow. But like I said, I would have thought there would have been some kind of like a imprint in the rubber, but I didn't see anything at all. That's what led me to believe it never had one, until I got looking more down in there. I could see the clamp laying right down there at the bottom where you see that antifreeze sitting at. So, well, I think we're ready to put the antifreeze in this thing and be good to go again. Alrighty, got one jug of antifreeze sitting here. Well, it's the same antifreeze I just took out. Find a spot to put my feet at. And this thing just has a pressurized bottle. Of course, down there's the radiator. Up here, underneath the hood with the hood up, is where you put it in at. It's got this pressure bottle right there beneath the funnel. And so, if I can find a spot to perch my camera on, that way it won't fall off. Well, it might sit there for now. If not, it'll probably end up dumping over and right into the antifreeze. So you might get an antifreeze bath. Yeah, there we go. It's got, I know, at least one main tube below that bottle that goes down, feeds into everything. And of course, as far as the block itself goes, I did not take and drain the block drain. However, well, you saw it there when I pulled the water pump out. That right there is what probably drained the block out. Alright, that's got that bottle. Now I gotta grab another one. Just got this bottle right here filled up. You can see it right down there. And I've still got, oh, feels like over half left here in this jug. So I'm gonna have to take and, I may take it out in the field and make a couple rounds of the disc. That'll warm it all up good. It's got to start circulating and pumping antifreeze around and get all the air out of it. So, well, I'll tell you what, maybe I'll bring you along for a quick ride on that, although you've already seen that part of it, of the disking, I mean. I left the hood up on this thing. I want to take a garden hose and spray it along the side and wash all that antifreeze out of it. So, this thing does have a blocked heat, a glow plug, so turn the key on right here, and over there should light up. Right here in this little window, it'll probably pop up, yeah, grid heater on, wait to start. It's got the little symbol right there. When that goes out, there we go. Okay, that went out. However, here on your control levers, if you throw these into float to drop whatever you have hooked on to drop it down, and if you don't get tripped back to the neutral, it'll sit there and start beeping at you. So we'll trip that back to neutral. The light went out. Now we're ready to start again. There we go. And I've got remote number 1 hooked up to raise the disc up and down. Alright, disc is going up. There we go. One nice thing, this tractor actually has 5 remotes. So you got your 4 main ones right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is right here. That's actually just a rocker switch. Up, down. And that right there is actually the flow control for number 5. Then right here underneath this armrest, you got the flow control or speed for numbers 1 through 4. And so yeah, either 1, 2, 3, 4. you can adjust them to however fast you want your speed to operate. Out here in the field with the disc, I'm not too sure how well that number shows up on camera. Kind of got a glare a little bit, but if you can see that middle number on there, we're at 185. So running with the disc out here, that is warming it up. That works. But yeah, like I said, that'll get everything circulating good, and should be able to put the rest of that antifreeze back into it. Well, that warmed it all up good. We're back down to, we're at 188. Probably can't see that too well. But it actually peaked out at about 220 before the thermostat opened up. So that lets everything circulate good and clean out. Well, clean out. Flush out. Push all the air through, and then I'll be able to take and pour the rest of the antifreeze back into it. Alright, I just backed it up here beside the shed. Got the hood propped back up on it. Right there's the overflow bottle for the antifreeze. I actually filled that clear full, and so that as it begins to cool down, it should pull pretty much all of that back out, because like I say, I've still got probably 2 gallon left to go back in the thing. And so yeah, that should work. Anyway, alright guys, I'm going to call that an end of this video. So hey, take care, thanks a lot for watching, we'll see you next time.